Insights channel, Steve here. I'm going to try and tell you from memory what I've been learning about signs in the times, and in particular the up and coming total eclipse of the sun in the USA on the 8th of April 2024. I must admit that first of all I didn't know anything about what was going on until a few days ago, but I've been studying quite a bit since. And as regards signs of the times and signs in the sky, I've known about these sort of things for the last 50 years. But in all honesty and summary, I have never, ever seen so many things happening at the same time, as in regards signs in the sun and the moon and the stars and strange happenings on the planet at the same time. I have to confess that many times I thought, oh yeah, somebody's always saying it's the end of the world. Every year somebody says this and somebody says that, and never anything seems to happen, or very little. But I have to admit, on this occasion, it's very different. What's happening right now is incredibly different. Very, very different. There are too many happenings, call them coincidences if you will, but I don't think they're coincidences. I do believe what originally God said in Genesis chapter 1, that God created the sun and the moon and the stars for signs and for seasons, to warn people of things yet to come. And what I found out in studying some very, very good material by experts in different fields, both of biblical, Hebrew, science, history, there is overwhelming evidence that many times in history there have been some major signs of solar eclipses, blood eclipses of the moon, comets passing over, and other celestial bodies, and all kinds of things, stars falling out the sky, you name it. And in nearly every single case that I've researched, it has been followed by disasters. The blood eclipses of the moon, the solar eclipses, never indicate something good. From history we can find out they've always indicated something disastrous, to do with wars, to do with famines, to do with earthquakes, rather like listed and given in Revelation chapter 6. And God forbid they are now indicating such things as happened in Revelation 8 and 9. But I must admit that it's exceptional. I can there's about at least 10 things happening all at the same time. And I'll try and list them from memory. First of all, we were warned of a blood moon eclipse, which I checked today, happened over the United States. And then exactly, it was on the 25th of March 2024. I haven't seen any pictures yet of that blood eclipse. We certainly didn't see anything here in the UK. We couldn't even if we wanted, because it was cloudy that night. But exactly 14 days later will come the eclipse on the 8th of April in the United States. That is what we are told. There's also been the passing over of a comet, which has been nicknamed the Devil's Comet, the reason being because it has horns. It's a horned comet. That is already in the skies, and it's supposed to be very easy to see on the eclipse of the sun on the 8th of April 2024. Why would that be? At the same time, there's an alignment of the planets. 5 of the planets are going to be in alignment. This is a very, very rare occurrence. These sort of things that are happening in the United States now is something that you won't see except once in a lifetime. And in many cases, in a much longer period of time. It is quite staggering what's going on right in April. And in April 2024, there's not only the eclipse of the sun, there's many other things happening at the same time. The alignment of the planets, the comet, the Horn comet appears, it becomes clearer, it's around for a few months, or disappears. And we just had a blood eclipse of the moon. And that's just some of the things going on. Now what I want to tell you is there's these other odd things going on. The odd things are that CERN has been closed down for the last 2 years. They're going to suddenly reopen on that exact day of the eclipse of the sun in America, on the 8th of April. Why? What are they up to? The founder of CERN stated that their goal is to open doors to other worlds, other universes, and something else might come through. In other words, portals. So they claim they're just messing around with particles crashing each other under Switzerland. But when you research it, you find out that CERN is built exactly where in old times was called the bottomless pit. Or according to what it says in the book of Revelations. What comes out of that bottomless pit is hybrid creatures, these what do you call them? They're not wasps, they're not hornets, they're locusts, but they have tails of a scorpion. Imagine that. And also happening at the same time as this very strange event that only happens like every 17 years. And this is even more rare. You've got these CIRCARDES, this insect that's going to come out of the ground by the billions. And there's 2 different lots of them coming out of the ground at the same time. I don't know how they know these things, but these things are very rare. They don't happen very often. That's also happening at the same time. CIRCARDES. Invasion of billions of CIRCARDES happening at the same time. Why? So first of all, we've got this, the moon turns to blood. Then we have alignment of all the planets, all 5 of them. That's a lot of them. And not only that, I found out that the comet, the Devil's Comet, is also in alignment with all these planets and the sun. Very odd. And then you've got CERN that's been closed for 2 years, opening up to try and open a portal on the same day we got the total eclipse of the sun. Don't you find that odd? And if that's not odd enough, then you've got NASA sending 3 rockets into space on the very time of the eclipse to observe this eclipse. And if you look into the name they even gave to one of the rockets, at least, it's the name of one of the gods that conquered in the past, a nickname of destruction, chaos. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I would say that spiritually speaking, the devil is pulling out all the stops right now for some reason or the other. What is he up to? What is he up to? Come on. We know that it says Satan is the god of this world, Jesus said. But he's really up to something right now. Another thing people have pointed out, why is it that for the first time in history, we've had many solar eclipses, an average of about 2, 3 in a year solar eclipses. And we've got this amazing thing, the United States right now, and this is one of the biggest thing of all. You've got eclipse pass over the United States from the northwest to the southeast, 21st of August 2017. And now, on the 8th of April 2024, you've got it coming from the southwest to the northeast. And both of them across the entire United States on 2 different occasions. And they meet in the middle of the United States, where you plot the path of these 2 solar eclipses, total solar eclipses. The one coming now, though, on the 8th of April, is a much wider area of total darkness. And the darkness is going to last for an unprecedented 4.5 minutes. It's absolutely staggering. And it's just amazing that the eclipse of the sun that came in 2007 over the United States, across the whole United States there from northwest to southeast, it went through 7 towns, all with the name of Salem, representing Jerusalem, of course. And this time, the comet crosses all across the United States, from Texas all the way through New York and into Canada, and it has 7 towns called Nineveh. and even one called, I think, Jonah. And there's a lot about it that's really incredible. I won't go into so many details now, but to say that something's going on. If you know about ancient Nineveh, and you know about Jonah, you know that Jonah was given the job by God to go to Nineveh and warn them and say you've got 40 days until destruction comes. Now Nineveh happened to repent so that God didn't bring the judgment. But I just found out for the first time, did you know, at the time that Jonah was prophesying to the city of ancient Nineveh in about 762 BC, there was an eclipse of the sun, total eclipse of the sun while he was talking. So no wonder that the Ninevites decided, whoops, we better do what he's saying. Fortunately, in their case, they weren't destroyed until another 120 years later or something like that, because that generation repented. But it's interesting to know the destruction of Nineveh was accompanied by an eclipse of the sun to Jonah's preaching. Found out some other interesting things too. As you know, at the birth of Christ, it was signaled by a star in the sky, travelling all the way from the far east to Bethlehem, and 3 kings accompany it to see the wonderful birth of Christ. That was also heralded by a star. Now we find out that in 66 AD, Halley's Comet passed over Israel at that time, and it was said to hang like a sword over Jerusalem. What happened? God had his prophets back then warn people to get out of Jerusalem, get out of that area. And a Christian prophet called Agabus warned the people, get out. And the Christians got out of that area and they crossed the river and they went to another place just as well they did. 4 years later, 70 AD, the Romans came, totally obliterated Israel, destroyed Jerusalem, crucified under 1,000 Jews around Jerusalem and 1 million throughout Israel, and kicked them all out. And that was the end of Israel. And that was the end of the Jewish religion. They're back in 70 AD. That's what happened to them for rejecting their own Messiah. They got booted out. And what they said, his blood be on us and our children forever, when he killed Christ. Well, God took them at their word 40 years after they crucified his son, booted them all out. And they haven't been able to come back since. Well, they came back physically to Israel, but the religion is dead. It's gone, destroyed when the veil in the temple was rent right up or down, whatever way you want to look at it. Religion dead. So that was predicted. All these things were predicted. And what happened when Christ died on the cross was great darkness in the land, in the 6th or 9th hour. And so these are signs like darkness for many hours, which is only caused by eclipse of the sun. 3 hours in the time of Jesus. 3 hours of darkness. And of course, then you remember the 10 plagues over Egypt in ancient times of Exodus. They had darkness all over the land of Egypt for a whole 24 hours. Or was it 3 days of darkness? I can't remember. So some people have called 3 days of darkness. Sounds old. I think maybe it was 3 days of darkness over Egypt in ancient times in book of Exodus. I want to tell you, these are just a few details that I've gleaned of what's going on as of the 8th of April 2024. There's so much going on. And why is it, for the first time, getting back what I was saying before, there's been many eclipses before. Why is it that this is the first time ever that the United States government is sending in special forces and the, what you call them, the Guard, into all these areas where it's likely that people are going to be watching the eclipse of the sun? What are they afraid of? What is it they're not telling us? What's going on? They're expecting something to happen on that eclipse of the sun. It looks like it. They're expecting chaos. They're American government has been telling people, don't put your kids in school for the days around that eclipse. Take out extra money and food, fill up your car with gasoline. That's what it's telling people to do. And presumably, stay safe. But from what? We've seen many eclipses before. I've seen solar eclipses, yeah, I have. Eclipses of the moon, blood eclipse, yes, seen that too. What's so special this time then? What are they not telling us? What is it they know? Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's possible that these signs just a mere coincidence, you might think. I personally don't think so. I think there's far too many signs happening in April. And it's just started on 25th of March. There's too much going on. I do believe what the Bible says, that when God created the stars, the moon and the sun, they should be for signs and seasons. That's what it says in Hebrew. I think it's a very, very interesting topic. I won't talk more about it right now, but I will come back and talk a lot more, because there's a lot more details I've already learnt. Incredible things about the United States and towns there. And many, many people have seen the destruction of cities in the United States coming burned by fire. Oh yeah. So I'll talk more about that next time. Talk more about Revelation 17:18, about the great whore burning with fire. We don't know when that'll happen. We know it's going to happen. But we do know that there's been great darkness descending on this world, especially in the last 5 years, and it's been getting worse and worse. We saw that all through the C and the V. It's gotten really out of control. A lot of people have died because of the last 5 years. A lot of people already, in the millions. So we know those that are guilty and responsible behind all the wars and the plagues, and they're going to be held accountable sooner or later. So if you live in certain countries, it's a pretty dangerous place to be, because of inevitable judgment on them. Anyway, it's written in the sun, the moon, the stars, for sure. It's just a matter of when. Sometimes, as the experts say, well, the fulfillment and judgments of these signs sometimes happen right away, sometimes happen a year later, sometimes many years later. It depends. But they do bring massive earthquakes, they do bring plagues, and they do bring wars. And you can prove that all through history with these celestial bodies. You can prove it. You just document it. Find when did that war, when that big war happened. Was there a sign in the sky? Yes, 1 year before. What about this war? Yes. What about this? You'll find out. The more you research, the more you find out. It just so happens that yes, there was an eclipse of the sun. For example, there was one right when Alexander the Great attacked the Medes and the Persians, 331 BC. I believe that's when it was. Total eclipse of the sun. And the Greeks saw it as a sign they would win. And the immediate Persians took it as a sign they were going to lose. And it happened. So there's been many times there have been signs in the sky and been interpreted by mankind. That's how it's been with the sun, the moon, the stars. Well, thanks for listening. I would encourage people, do get hold of my books on the paranormal, supernatural, out of the bottomless pit, books 1 and 2. And do get also my insights books, based on the Apocrypha books, especially the book of Enoch, Jasher, Jubilees, Esdras Insights, Eden Insights, based on the lost books of Adam and Eve, and the Testaments of 12 Patriarchs Insights. So thanks for listening. Bye for now.